Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And we have some breaking news. As I was finishing off the last video, this popped up at the bottom of the screen. It's dated, not dated, it's timed at 9:29 this morning, which at the time of recording this is some 11 minutes ago. So it's like hot off the press. But the fraud cops are looking into the money left to the SNP from people's wills. They've been left a lot of money. In fact, I did a video a few days ago sort of describing the SNP as a zombie party. They exist now. Their finances are purely the money that they receive from things like the short money that they get from Parliament and the money left to them in wills. They are a party reliant upon dead people because anyone living isn't giving them money. And it's not surprising, and that situation will get worse. And so they are literally living on borrowed time and on the goodwill of dead people. It's a very sad state of affairs that they can't convince living people to give them money. Anyway, we'll have a look at this article. Like I say, it is literally hot off the press. It is there, and we will see what is going on. Here goes. So, cops are looking into the money left to the SNP in wills, as 400,000 of the 600,000 is still missing from the IndyRef 2 fund. A police source reveals that large sums of money left to the party in wills are being looked at as part of the investigation, as further details emerge about the focus of Operation Branchform Probe. And there she is. Stats, still get over that. Just going to keep me hand in my pocket, like unnaturally so, because don't want you to see I've taken my wedding ring off. What a stupid woman. The fraud investigation into the SNP's accounts has been widened to include money left to the party by nationalist supporters in their wills. The latest exclusive in the Sunday Mail reveals that bequests are now being examined alongside the whereabouts of more than 600,000 donated for a second independence referendum. As the Scottish Express revealed last week, the SNP is now almost entirely reliant on public money and cash gifts from people whose dying wish is to see an independent Scotland. And that's an awful waste of money because it won't happen, and their families would rather have the money, I suspect, than them. Anyway, the police source told our sister paper large sums left to the parties in wills are being looked at as part of the investigation. Huge amounts have been left over the years, including donations declared to the EC, the Electoral Commission, in recent months. In terms of the Independence Fund, for which has been reported as missing, there is around 400,000 which officers are trying to account for. It is a complex investigation being run by specialist officers with training in financial fraud. They're looking at company accounts and bank accounts and at specific items which have been purchased and where the funds and items have ultimately ended up. Think here, very, very expensive £1,000 a pop pens. Think jewellery. Think exclusively, very nice pots and pans for things. As well as, obviously, the very famous £110,000 motorhome, the Battle Bus. My arse. Anyway, officers involved in Operation Branchform are seeking burner phone-style SIM cards and are also being sought by police as part of the fraud investigation. The purchase of luxury pens, designer pots and pans, and even a fridge freezer are also being probed, as I've just mentioned. The SNP has received over 70 bequests worth around £5 million since 2000, including cash gifts worth more than £1 million in the past 2 years alone. And of course, it's this money that's kept the SNP afloat. Without this money, without the £1 million in the last 2 years, they would be done. They would be bankrupt. And this party cannot even run its own books correctly. So what hope does it have for the Scottish economy? This includes 246,000 from the estate of a South African-born Estelle Brownrigg. She lived in Scotland for 6 years and died in a care home in Quarriers Village, Bridge of Weir in Renfrewshire in 2018 at the age of 73. Details of her donation first emerged at a hearing at the Court of Session in Edinburgh, because an unrelated charity also named in the will could not be found. The EC records show the SNP reported a £120,000 bequest from Miss Brownrigg in October 2019, and in the party registered an incorrect spelling of her name, listing her surname as Brownrigg with one G. But, a spelling mistake, I'm not going to hang someone over that. It's an unusual name, I suspect. Anyway, in January 2023, a second tranche of the 246,000 was reported to the EC with the date of the donation given as December 22. And it is there. It's just money from dead people all the time. Nobody alive is giving the money to the party. And certainly the normal sponsors, the sort of the businesses and that, they're walking away. They are turning their back and scarpering off because they don't want to align themselves and be associated with what is now a potentially criminal organisation. And so they've got no money coming in from commercial sponsorship. The membership money is pitiful. They're about to lose the short fund from Westminster. So you're wondering how on earth they can keep going. Well, the answer is they can't. If this comes out, they are done. They are financially bust. They are a busted flush. But anyway, the SNP, to carry on, the SNP also received 300,000 from an Edinburgh woman, Morven Paulson, who died in April 2020. And she got that, and they received that in April 21. And a second sum of 70,000 was declared with the EC in January 22. Other recent donations and wills include $250,000 from Banffshire stalwart Dr. Norman Allen, which he gave to the party after his death in 2019 at the age of 96. I feel sorry for the families of these people. They're sitting there going, oh, my uncle, he's rich, he's going to leave us. We'll get ourselves out of this financial hole, maybe buy a house. No, they've given it to the criminals of the SNP. And I bet these people are whirling in their graves, spinning in their urns, because they gave this money knowing that they were doing it deliberately for an independent Scotland, not realising they were handing money over to con men and criminals who were wanking it away on motorhomes and £1,000 a pop pens. It just tells you that this is what the SNP is now. It's basically stealing from needy families because that money would have gone to members of that family. That's who they are. Scottish Labour leader Jackie Baillie, deputy leader, to apologise, although just a matter of time, hey Jackie, said the picture just keeps getting murkier. It's clear that for any semblance of trust to be restored, their members and the public need far more transparency from the SNP. You can ask for it all you like, my darling. You are never going to get it, because if they are truly transparent, it would reveal the monsters they truly are. There are more and more questions to answer about the events of the last few years. And every day there is more and more and more. And there's still tons to come. The Scottish Lib Dems leader Alex Cole-Hamilton said, we need a government that is focused on the record NHS waiting lists, the broken down ferries and the sewage being pumped into our rivers. Instead, everything just gets murkier and people are horrified by the chaos engulfing the SNP. It's all falling apart. It is, and it has to stop. But the trouble is, nobody wants it to stop. They keep voting the people in. The Scots seem to think that if you keep voting the SNP in, eventually they'll get good at what they're doing. But they won't, and they will never have independence. And independence is now impossible under the SNP because increasingly people don't trust them. They look at the record, they say there's no way we can have an independent Scotland with that lot in charge. And so, keep going. That's what I say for the SNP. Keep going as long as you can. The longer you go, the less likelihood of independence. Officers have arrested in question. I'm just going about the people have arrested in question, which we're not going to go in again. And basically that's there. But it's rounding this off. It says the issues are subject to a live police investigation. This is the SNP saying this. And the SNP have been cooperating fully with this investigation, which is a lie. And they will continue to do so, which is a lie. However, it is not appropriate to publicly address these issues during this time. In other words, thank God we can actually avoid this, and hopefully the news cycle will move on. The news cycle will not move on. You are the news cycle. And so everything is being investigated now. There is nothing. There is no stone being unturned. They are looking under every rock. The trouble is, every time they lift a rock up, you see these little things scuttling away, and they're senior members of the SNP crawling on their bellies like insects. They just absolutely, they must all be crapping themselves. I think they all know that charges will follow, and I think there's going to be jail time, assuming that the police aren't deliberately fudging this investigation. But the more that comes out, and this is the true result, is the more that comes out, the more support for the SNP is being whittled away. The longer it goes, the less money they have, and eventually they will go bankrupt. And even now, they've taken to cold calling accountants, begging them to come and do the books, and no accountant has yet to say yes, because they know there's no way they want to put their name to anything to do with the SNP, and they're not obliged to do so. And if they don't do it in time, then the Electoral Commission will force a company into it. They will put their own auditors in. They will force this full investigation, and the truth will come out, and the SNP will be more or less disbanded overnight as being unfit to form a party. It is delicious, and it just keeps running and running and running. And you'll get it here first, folks. So do hit that subscribe button and just make sure you keep and follow this story, because it is absolutely delicious. Anyway, I shall round off and I shall come up. It just gets worse and worse for the SNP. Not only is all the money they've spent being investigated, but now they're investigating where the money's coming from. And it really wouldn't surprise me if people from the party were going around to supporters who are getting on a bit kind of thing, and sort of suggesting that they leave a little bit in the will. It'll be your legacy. An independent Scotland, you will have helped, after you've gone, your will, that anything you leave us will have helped get us across that line to an independent Scotland. It would not surprise me if they were pressuring people into doing this. And it is disgusting. I think there needs to be a law. I honestly think there needs to be a law that means that no political party can benefit from a will. People are free to give to a political party, but only while they're alive. I think they need to remove that from the wills. And if they did that, of course, the SNP would be finished immediately. So they won't be pushing that law. So it maybe needs to come in through Westminster. And that isn't a thing. That's not impossible for Westminster to do. They could actually bring that in, that no political party anywhere, even as devolved, can take any funding from wills, and that you would truly see the SNP finish overnight, because they're just crooks mainly, aren't they? Or is it just me? It's my opinion. I think that they're crooks. I'm just going to say it that way. You can't trust any of them. You can't trust anything they say. And with them all being arrested, and this whole business just smears the entire party. But now, what are they doing with these people? Why are they so reliant on dead people's money? It does need a full investigation, and it wouldn't surprise me if it got slightly worse for them. Anyway, I shall round off there. If you like what you're seeing here on the channel, do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. But please leave a like, it pushes the metrics. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, be careful how you leave your money, and goodbye.